The city buzzed with its usual rhythm, horns blaring, people rushing, and the sun glaring down on concrete that had seen too many footsteps and too few smiles. But amid that chaos, there was a young man named Rayan Malik, pedaling an old squeaky bicycle down the hot streets of Karachi. His shirt was soaked with sweat, his jeans faded beyond color, and his tired eyes revealed sleepless nights and unspoken dreams. A large thermal bag clung to his back, filled with the aroma of food he could barely afford to eat himself. For Rayan, each delivery wasn't just a job, it was survival. Every rupee mattered, every order counted, and every delay could mean a customer complaint that might cost him his meager salary. But today, something was about to happen that would change the course of his life forever. Before we go deeper into Rayan's story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and humanity, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal, because together we can make kindness go viral. Rayan lived in a cramped single-room flat with his ailing mother, Shabana, who had been bedridden for almost a year. Diabetes had stolen her energy and sight slowly, leaving her dependent on her son for everything. Each morning, before leaving for work, Rayan would boil rice and lentils for her, set her medicines on the bedside table, and whisper, "I'll be back before dark, Amma." She'd smile faintly and reply, "Allah tume asman takla jaye beta." But the truth was, Rayan was already running on empty. Between rent, medicine, and food, life was a tightrope he walked barefoot. That afternoon, the heat was cruel. Rayan wiped his forehead as he checked his delivery app. One more order before his shift ended. It was a medium meal from a local restaurant to an address in Clifton, one of the city's wealthier areas. He looked at the map, sighed, and began to pedal. His bicycle rattled on broken roads, his lungs burned, but his spirit kept pushing him forward. When he reached the tall white apartment complex, he parked his bicycle carefully and climbed the stairs. The app showed delivered, but as he reached the door, he realized the woman who ordered hadn't come to pick it up. He waited a minute, then two, then knocked again. Finally, the door opened slowly. Standing before him was a woman in her early 30s, her face pale, eyes swollen with tears. She looked lost, like someone who hadn't eaten or slept in days. Her once stylish clothes hung loosely on her, and her shaking hand held a phone that kept buzzing endlessly. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. I'm sorry, I can't pay. I thought I cancelled the order. My card, it didn't." Rayan looked at her, confused at first, then noticed the half-packed boxes behind her. Photos scattered, clothes in disarray. It wasn't the sight of wealth he expected from Clifton. She looked like someone whose world had fallen apart. "It's okay, madam," Rayan said softly. "You can take it." She shook her head, embarrassed. "No, I can't. Please, you'll get in trouble." But before she could finish, Rayan smiled faintly and pushed the food toward her. "You look hungry. Please, just eat." The woman hesitated, tears filling her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" "Because," he said simply, "sometimes people need food more than money." She took the bag slowly, her trembling fingers brushing his hand. "Thank you," she whispered. Rayan nodded, smiled once more, and turned away, unaware that this single act of kindness was about to echo back into his life in ways he could never imagine. The next few days went on as usual. Rayan continued delivering food, pedaling through the sun, saving every spare rupee to buy his mother's medicine. But that night, as he sat beside her, feeding her rice, he thought about the woman. Something about her sadness stayed with him. The way she looked lost yet dignified, fragile yet holding on. He wondered who she was, what happened to her, and if she ever got back on her feet. Then he brushed the thought away, telling himself he was foolish for caring. A week later, Rayan was called into the restaurant manager's office. He walked in nervously, fearing he'd made a mistake. But the manager smiled oddly. "Rayan, someone left a note for you, said you delivered food to her apartment last week. She came by yesterday." Rayan blinked, confused. "Who?" The manager handed him a small envelope. Inside was a note that read, "Dear Rayan, Sometimes angels don't wear wings. They wear worn-out shirts and carry food bags. Thank you for feeding a stranger when she needed it most. If you're ever free, please visit the cafe at Clifton Beach near the old bookstore. Ask for Zara. There was no money, no signature beyond the name Zara, just those words. After his shift the next day, curiosity got the best of him. He cycled down to the cafe, nervous and unsure. When he arrived, he saw her. The same woman, sitting by the window, sipping tea. She looked different this time. Her hair neatly tied, her clothes clean, a soft smile replacing the pain he had seen before. As he approached, she stood up. "You came," she said, her voice warm. "I didn't know if you really wanted to see me," he replied shyly. She smiled and gestured to the seat across from her. "I did. Sit, please." Over steaming cups of chai, she began to speak. Zara had once been a marketing executive, living comfortably until tragedy struck. Her husband passed away suddenly in an accident, and in the chaos that followed, she lost her job, her apartment, and her stability. That day when Rayan delivered the food, she hadn't eaten in almost 2 days. "You didn't just feed me," she said quietly. "You gave me a reason to believe in people again." Rayan didn't know what to say. He had always thought of himself as helpless, the one who needed saving. Yet somehow, his small act had saved someone else. Over the next few weeks, Zara and Rayan crossed paths more often. She would order tea from the cafe. He'd stop by during his deliveries, and slowly a friendship formed, unlikely but genuine. She helped him fill out forms to apply for a driver's license and connected him to a part-time job doing small errands for her friend's logistics company. For the first time, Rayan felt like life was giving him a chance to stand taller. Months passed and his life began to change. With the extra income, he bought new medicine for his mother, repaired his bicycle, and even managed to save a little. Zara, meanwhile, started a small online business selling homemade candles, rebuilding her own life piece by piece. But what connected them wasn't just gratitude, it was respect, the kind born when two broken people help each other heal. One day, as Rayan delivered a parcel for Zara's business, she stopped him at the door and handed him an envelope. "Open it when you get home," she said with a mysterious smile. That evening, after feeding his mother, he opened it. Inside was a letter and a small key. The letter read, "Dear Rayan, I've learned that true success isn't about what we have, but what we give. You once gave me food when I had nothing. Now, I want to give you something that might help you reach your dreams. The key belongs to a small motorbike parked behind your building. It's not new, but it's yours. Use it to go faster, dream bigger, and never forget that kindness always finds its way back." Rayan stared at the letter, stunned. Tears welled up in his eyes. He ran outside. And there it was, a second-hand but sturdy bike, gleaming softly under the streetlight. He touched it like it was made of gold. His mother watched from the window, smiling through her tears. "You see, Beta," she whispered, "Allah never forgets good hearts." From that day onward, Rayan's deliveries became faster. He earned more, saved more, and within a year, he had opened his own small delivery startup. He called it Ra'i, meaning path of goodness. Zara became his silent partner, helping him manage clients and logistics. What began as an act of charity had blossomed into a partnership of trust, compassion, and hope. The years went by, and their bond only grew stronger. Rayan's company expanded, hiring young boys from poor backgrounds, giving them stable incomes and dignity. Zara's business flourished too, and she continued to guide him like a mentor, or perhaps something even more. One sunny afternoon, standing outside their shared office, Zara looked at Rayan and said softly, "You know, that day when you gave me food, you didn't just feed me, you changed my life." Rayan smiled, his eyes shining. "No, Zara, you showed me that kindness doesn't end where it starts. It keeps moving, changing lives one act at a time. And with that, they both stood silently, watching a group of young delivery boys ride out with food boxes labeled Ra-Ikar. The sun glinted off their helmets as they disappeared into the city, carrying meals, hope, and a story born from one simple act of kindness. So, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal, because the world needs more people like Rayan and Zara, people who remind us that even the smallest gesture can start a ripple that changes lives. Special request, comment below. What's the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you? Your story might inspire someone today. Moral kindness doesn't always come from the rich, and gratitude doesn't always come from the poor. Sometimes, two broken hearts just need a moment of humanity to find their way back to life.